Hey, welcome back to the Gilly Custom channel. Paul Gilly here. Let's talk cabinet doors today. There's a couple different ways of making cabinet doors. The more typical, now this is not a door I built, this is just an old door I pulled off an old cabinet to show you the way that I'm not doing it today, because that's not the way that I'm doing it today. Basically, this is the stick or cope and stick method, right? So you got it's a 5-piece design. Most cabinet doors are. You got the two stiles, the two rails, and then the panel. The way these are joined, you got well, you use one router to make this inside part, which is going to give you this groove like that to stick the panel in, and then these rails are going to be coped. So basically you got a router bit that's the opposite of that one that you're going to do these ends with. And this is my preferred method of joining cabinet doors. But that's not what we're doing today, because that's not going to work for the cabinets that were requested for this particular cabinet job. So what I'm going to show you right now is the mitered method. Next time I do one like that though, I'll make a video and I'll show you. But today it's the mitered method. So basically you just miter the corners and join them like that. So you run them through the router to get this groove, everything, the whole, well, usually you know, rip all your pieces, run them all through the router to get everything mitered, and then you cut all your sections. And then join them together with miter joints. I like to throw in a domino. I got the little Festool domino. This guy right here. And then the dominoes look like this. You might have seen it in other videos or other parts of this video. That goes in there, joins up, makes a really strong joint. So anyways, there we go. That's the mitered method. The reason we did the mitered method in this particular instance is this detail right here, the outside bead. Normally, we would route this inside part and then route the ends of these rails and then join it all together. And then once the door is done, we'd run the router around the outside to do whatever detail we're doing on the outside, whether it's one of these or just a simple round over or what. But you can't do that with this, because this has to be routed not from the surface but from the edge, and you can't just run a router like that. It's just not going to work. So to miter or to route this stuff, you send it through the router first like this, or really upside down like this, to get this groove done and this profile, and then you got to run it through like this to get this detail done. So that's what we did. I'm going to show you that, and then I'm going to show you how we join them together. We got this groove here for the inside of the panel, and then we got this nice pretty beaded part for the outside edge. Now I cut it into sections. And just like that, all of our cabinet door frame parts are ready. Next thing we're going to do is take the panels that we glued up, and we're going to route them to make that that bevel on the edges, kind of like that raised panel door right there. And then we can start putting the doors together. So here's how we route that panel. Now using this shaper, we're gonna route our raised panels for the center pieces of the door. panel all routed. And I got a little bit of burning on here because that router bit is not as sharp as I'd like it to be, but hey, it got the job done. And we're not worried about the burning because these cabinets are getting painted, not stained, so it'll be okay. Let's see how this fits together. I'm gonna do a little dry fit first. I forgot something. Spaceballs. No, not the movie. These little rubber balls go in here. They actually space out the panel, or they enable the panel to be nice and centered in here, and avoid things like the clattering of the cabinet as it slams shut. You know, not that these will slam shut because we're going to use soft close hinges, but you know what I mean. Slightly on the tight side. It's not the worst thing in the world. I think it would be worse if they were too loose. So what you do with these little balls, this is actually my first time using these ever. But from what I gather, oh, they like to fall out. You stick them in there and then it helps to space things out evenly. So once we get it clamped tight, I think that's gonna be it's gonna look pretty good. Now, of course, my dominoes in the joints are gonna help to keep these nice and flat and looking the way they're supposed to, but yeah, I think that's gonna turn out pretty good. All right, let's glue it up. There go the space balls. I think it's so funny they call them that. So when we glue, we want to keep glue away from that bead right there and that one, because if we get some squeeze out right there, that's going to be a pain to sand off after the fact. So we don't want to use too much glue for these. Most of the time, you know, a little too much glue is not a problem. Well, in this case, we don't want too much glue. I like to use the domino to spread the glue. And then that way, the domino has glue on it. And then you insert it. There you go. And then add some glue on the other face of the domino. There you go. It'll squeeze out on the surface, no big deal. Wipe it off, put it on the next surface. What you don't want is squeeze out right there in that little beaded detail, because that makes it a pain to clean up. Space balls in. Okay. In with the panel. And these things are annoying. I don't know. I hope they do what they're supposed to do, because they are a pain in the butt. There goes that one again. Back in there. Maybe there's just a better method and I just don't know it yet. But this job, I got, I think, close to 50 cabinet doors and panels to do. So by the end, I'm sure I'll have it pretty well figured out. There you go. That looks pretty good right there. Now, another kind of new thing that I'm using in this job that I'm trying out is these belt clamps. Figure I got all these cabinet doors to do and I only got so many clamps. So I decided to try these for mitered corners. This is my first time doing mitered cabinet doors, so you know, take anything I say with a grain of salt. I've done a whole bunch of the cope and rail type, or cope and stick type. That's definitely my preferred method. I'm not a huge fan of this mitered method, but hey, it's what we're doing. It's what we have to do, like I said, because of that outside detail. Might be some people's preferred method. I don't know. But anyways, so I got these strap clamps. Where basically, I know, these are kind of the cheaper ones. I don't know. We're going to see how well they work. If they don't work very well, I'll never buy them again. Never use them again. I might even return them. If they do work well, then I'll know that it was unnecessary to spend big money on the expensive ones. But we're going to find out. I'm going to tell you what I think of them after doing all these cabinet doors. But basically, as you can see, the strap kind of comes out. You line them up like that. I think we're going to want to elevate this a little bit so that ends of the straps can be about centered on the door. Alright. Then you pull the strap tight, clamp it down like that. Oh wait, first, let's loosen this. Now what I gather from these things is straps tend to stretch a decent bit, so you get as tight as you can before you, like, pull the strap tight, as tight as you can before you actually start tightening the handle. And you tighten the handle. And yeah, it seems to be pulling it together pretty decently. Getting a little bit of glue squeeze out here. That's to be expected. That's good. It means it's pulling it tight. And it makes even pressure. That's pretty good. Now, I don't know how heavy duty these things are. If this was like some super high strength application, I don't know if I would use them, but for this, for a little cabinet door like this, not bad. I got an 8-pack of these, so I figure, you know, I can glue up a door, clamp it like this, then do the next one, and then the next one, and by the time I get to after 8, I should be able to unclamp the first one. So they only need, you know, minimum of 30 minutes of clamp time with this stuff. By the time I get to the 9th cabinet door, that first one will have been clamped for well over 30 minutes, I think. So there we go. Mitered cabinet doors. Once these are dry, we'll sand these miters, you know, sand the joints as needed, just if in case they're not perfectly flush. And then, you know, touch up what needs to be touched up. And then they'll be ready for paint. Oh, after we bore the back sides for the hinges. That's another little step we gotta throw in there. Then they'll be ready for paint. So, see you